Okay, we're going to spend 2 days on this. So we're going to now add and subtract rational expressions. So let's kind of review how to add fractions. So 1/8 plus 1/4, can I add them together? No. Oh, okay, not right now. Okay, so what do I have to do? Same denominator. So then which one what's the least common denominator? 8. So then what do I have to change? Or how do I change it?
Change 1/4 to 2/8.
2/8. So basically multiply top and bottom by 2. Okay, we get 1/8 plus 2/8. Now that they have the same denominator, please don't add the denominator together. That's still at 8, and then 3/8. Okay, so easy stuff. Now we're going to add one that actually has x, which is, all the stuff that we're going to learn in this chapter. All right, 1/3x plus 5/x. They cannot be added together because they don't have the same denominator. So what is the least common denominator? 3x. So what do I have to multiply here? 3/3. So this becomes 1/3x plus 15/3x. That is 16/3x. So the key is they have to have the same denominator. All right. Now we're going to add really, the rational functions. So can I add them together as it is right now? No. So we need to make sure that they have the same denominator. The one on the right is very complicated. So again, the thing about this chapter is factor, factor, factor. So we're going to have to factor that second term. So first one, there's nothing to do. The second one, 2x minus 1, that's, the same. In the denominator, what is that factor to? Okay, x minus, oh, you know what? I think I made this question too hard. That's going to make it too hard. I am going to change this question a little bit. I thought I did. Okay. I'm going to change it to, okay. Let's change that to x squared minus x minus 2. Okay, I don't want 3 different terms. It's going to take too long. Yeah?
Yours is different.
Mine is different? Is it minus x minus 2 for you?
Yours is x minus 1.
Oh, yours is x minus 1. Okay, then that works. Oh.
Mine's not. Mine's that.
Yours?
Mine's is.
Oh wait, no, the x minus 1 on the left is.
Yeah, have x minus 1.
They can't keep going on.
Okay, so yours says minus 1. I probably uploaded an old note. Sorry about that. That's a minus 1, right? Okay, minus 1. All right, so then factor x minus 2, x minus 1. Thank you. Now we can see what the factors are. So in the first one, you have a denominator of x minus 1. In the second term, you have a factor of x minus 2 and x minus 1. So if you consider both, what is the least common denominator? Yes, x minus 2, x minus 1. So basically it's saying like, I have an x minus 1, you have an x minus 2, x minus 1. What do we need to have so that we both have the same thing? Yeah, x minus 2, x minus 1. Are you guys okay? Okay. So as long as they both have the same thing, that is called the least common denominator. So x minus 2, x minus 1. That's the least common denominator. So this term on the left does not have this least common denominator. So what do we need to multiply so it also has the same denominator? Okay, x minus 2. Okay, so now we are going to distribute and then add them together. We almost never distribute the denominator, so just leave the denominator in factored form. In the numerator, we're going to distribute. Okay, that's going to give me x squared minus 2x over x minus 2, x minus 1, plus 2x minus 1 over x minus 2, x minus 1. Okay, now since they have the same denominator, we're just going to add the numerators together. So let's do that. Okay, so x squared minus 2x plus 2x minus 1. What does the numerator become? Yeah, x squared minus 1. In the denominator, it's still x minus 2, x minus 1. We want this in simplest form. What else can I do?
X plus 1 times x minus 1.
Yeah, so we can factor the numerator again. Sometimes that happens once you combine them, you can actually factor again. Okay, now you can see that there are some factors that are going to cancel. This becomes x plus 1 over x minus 2. So this is the most simplified form. And you get to that again by making sure both sides or both terms have the same denominator and then add them together. All right, let's look at another part of the problem. So the first thing says simplify the expression. Simplify means you need to put it in the simplest form. Next, state any restriction. So same thing. What can x not be? 1 and 2. Basically, everything in the denominator is a problem. So the least common denominator before you cancel. It's always before you cancel. X can be 1 or 2. All right. Let's have you try one. Okay, add them together. Again, you gotta find the least common denominator and then make sure that both of the terms have the same by multiplying by the missing factor. The answer is x plus 2 over x. X can equal 0 or 1. Okay, make sure you check the restriction before canceling. Okay, next one is pretty much the same, but it's just there is a minus there, and we want to be careful when we have a minus something. All right, this one. What is the first step?
Get it to the same and multiply it by the least common denominator.
Yes, and we want to get to that by factoring. Yeah, so we want to factor as much as possible. So x plus 2 over x times x minus 2 minus x plus 2 over 2 times x minus 2. All right, we need the least common denominator. That means so for example, I have x and x minus 2, and you have 2 and x minus 2. What is it so that we all have the same amount of things? Someone over here. What's the least common denominator? 2x. Someone over here. Oh, are we confused on least common denominator? Oh, okay, all right. Grace, 2x and then?
X minus.
Yes, 2x and x minus 2. Do you guys need explanation, or you guys are okay getting to the least common denominator? Okay, another way to think about least common denominator is I start with these two, and then I look on the other side. If it has the same thing, I just skip. If it doesn't have something I already have, I circle that one and say that is it. 3 of them are my least common denominator. Does that make sense? You start with one of them, both of them, and then you look on the next one and say, is there anything I missed from the first one? If there is, you include that. If you already have it, then don't include it. Okay, so the least common denominator is 2x, x minus 2. So on the left, what do I need to multiply to get to 2x, x minus 2? Good. Okay, on the right, what do I need to multiply to get to 2x, x minus 2? Good. Okay. All right. In the denominator, I'm just going to have a 2x, x minus 2. In the numerator, I'm going to remember I need to distribute. Anytime you have 2 terms or more, that's in parentheses. So it needs to be distributed. Okay, so that's going to give me 2x plus 4. Minus. Minus is the problem. When you have a minus sign, I want as little mistake as possible when you're doing it. So let's just have you put it in bracket. Because eventually we need to distribute that negative sign. And this is where a lot of people make mistakes. They forget to distribute a negative sign. Okay, so this is in parentheses. Anytime you have any kind of polynomial, it's always in parentheses. Distribute x squared
plus 2x.
yeah, and then we still have the same least common denominator. All right, so now that you have this whole thing enclosed in bracket, I hope you remember that you're actually going to distribute this negative sign. So please make sure you do that. This is, again, a common mistake. 2x plus 4 minus x squared minus 2x, all over the same denominator. Okay, now you want to just cancel as much as possible. So this is 4 minus x squared over 2x, x minus 2. 4 minus x squared looks very interesting. It looks like something I could factor if it were in the right orientation, I guess. So what can I do to change it to something maybe like x squared minus 4?
Do you want to move the x squared, like the negative x squared and time 4, or do you want to take out the negative 1?
Both. We need to do both. Yes, good. So we're gonna move that, right? Switch the direction or switch the position. Then we're gonna take out the negative. That changes the sign for both terms. Now it looks like something I can factor and I've seen before, and indeed I can factor this. So this becomes negative x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay, that's all over 2x times x minus 2. Yes, question?
How did you get 4 minus x squared?
Okay, so 2x plus 4 minus this whole thing, when you distribute a negative, becomes... Okay, so now x minus 2 is going to cancel. We have a negative outside of x plus 2 over 2x. Restriction. X can equal what? 0 and 2. So it sometimes helps that you write an LCD on the side, so that reminds you later that everything in that LCD or least common denominator is a problem. So you don't want to cancel and then realize that, oh, there's only one restriction, but there are actually two. So be careful about that. All right, let's have you try the next one. Please be careful of the minus sign.